Pete Hegesth is now on social media bragging about authorizing a lethal strike on a boat with zero evidence and zero due process. This guy says every new attack.
Hi lovelies, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Stranad. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real MVP.
So lovelies, I came across this stitches on my For You and I thought to share where internet is reacting to the fact that PSO, after ordering people to be unalive, is all about the social platform, bragging that his intention was just to protect, his own dreams. Lovelies, I'm just going to roll the clip because this is actually getting out of hand and people are calling for him to be impeached or for him to actually go down. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. Alright lovelies, drop your own thoughts and we are going to come back to talk about
All right, y'all, so we got breaking news. So Frumpy Dump's DUI Higher Defense Secretary just said, look, I wasn't even in the room when that second strike was ordered on that boat on September 2nd, okay? Admiral Bradley, that was all you, player. Y'all go ahead and grab your tea and have a seat. Watch this.
And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that. A lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco terrorists know you can't bring drugs.
I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So the DUI hire is trying to backpedal and bottle pop out of the second strike, which is the one that everyone seems to have problems with. The one that everyone is saying, hey, that may be a war crime. Doesn't sound suspicious now, does it? I declare, honey, what a disgrace. And while we're talking about drug terrorists, you might want to talk to the President of the United States because he just pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was found guilty on American soil of trafficking more than 400 tons of that cocaine. He was sentenced to 45 years in the clink, and Frumpy Dump just let him walk free. Like I said, honey, the DUI hire has a way of trying to distance himself from the very strike that everyone is saying could be a war crime. You notice that he's taking full and complete responsibility of ordering that first strike, even though we don't know what those people are on that boat for. We haven't seen any evidence of any type of drugs, any type of evidence leading to there were trafficking people, absolutely nothing. We don't know what those people were out there doing. All we know is that you guys shot them down and you did it twice so you can get rid of the witnesses. This is re-damn ridiculous and a hot boo-boo shitty mess. And if I was Admiral Bradley, I would make sure that I have an attorney expeditiously. This is a bipartisan concern. But if we don't take it seriously now, I can guarantee you after the midterms, the Democrats are definitely going to take it seriously and somebody is going to be held accountable. You all put your thoughts in the comments. This is Double D Mother for the Black Accurate News.
Major breaking news this morning. The first articles of impeachment have officially been announced against Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth over his alleged war crimes in the Southern Caribbean. They will be officially filed in the U.S. House of Representatives, and the articles are accusing him of murder and conspiracy to murder, and also reckless and unlawful handling of classified information. Now, the first article that they're accusing him of is because of the alleged strikes in the Southern Caribbean, not alleged, my bad. actual strikes in the Southern Caribbean, killing over 80 people so far. Now they are accusing him of a war crime because back in September, when 11 people were on a boat leaving out of the Southern Caribbean, what does Pete Hegseth do? He strikes the boat not once, but after he knew there were survivors, he ordered a second strike. That is murder. And you didn't even give anyone due diligence. That is murder as well. Second article they're accusing him is reckless and unlawful handling of classified information. You guys know that relates to the Signal Gate, as he was talking about strikes in Yemen over a Signal chat that got leaked that could have potentially put American troops at risk, literally, because he wanted to say in these Signal chats when he was going to strike, where he was going to strike, and who he was going to strike. If the Houthi rebels got that, that would have endangered a lot of American troops. So, Pete Hegseth, the articles of impeachment have officially been announced, and, well, we'll see how far this goes.
So when are we going to stop letting entitled, delusional white men gaslight the American people? When is Pete Hegseth and Admiral Bradley going to step down and be prosecuted for these murders? Because we can't call them war crimes because we're not at war with Venezuela. This is just straight up murder. And just because Pete Hegseth gets on social media and says that they did nothing wrong and that they back Admiral Bradley and he had all the authority to make that second strike, killing those two people who were clinging to wreckage from the boat in the water and who posed no threat. Just because he got on social media and said that, just because Trump gets up in front of camera and says, oh, I didn't know that happened. I didn't know. I trust Pete. I didn't know that happened. I don't know anything about it. That doesn't mean what happened wasn't wrong. So it would be great if the media would stop discussing this as if this was something to be debated. Because that was illegal and it was murder. And I'm so tired of seeing fucking white men in charge of this country just bullshitting their way through everything. A fucking Fox News host is running our Department of War? That's what we're calling it now? I'm thoroughly tired of this shit.
A Colombian family filed a complaint on Pete Hegseth strikes that unalived their family member.
What happened?
The family of a Colombian man believes he was unalived in Pete Hegseth's boat strike. So they filed a complaint with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights saying that their family member Alejandro Carranza was a fisherman who was struck on September 15th.
So they were actually fishermen after all?
Well, that's yet to be determined. The Colombian family claims the United States carried out an extrajudicial unaliving which violates the Carranza's human rights. And they are now seeking compensation and want an end to Pete Hegseth's innocent unalivings.
What else did they say?
They said these unalivings are against international law, they are against U.S. law, and we want this to stop. And we think this is at least a first step to making that happen. And they specifically named Pete Hegseth as the perpetrator, saying he was responsible for ordering the bombings of boats. And they also claim that Hegseth's conduct was ratified by the U.S. President Donald Trump. They're begging them to stop justifying this.
Wait, but if he did those same strikes on over 80 people, does that mean...
Hey y'all, did you hear? The family member of that man, one of the men that was on that boat that was unalive, they filed a formal complaint against Pete Hegseth, of murder. They said that was a fisherman's boat. And her husband was a fisherman. They was on that boat fishing. When Pete Hegseth ordered the strike on that boat, and this is what I was telling you on my other video, he had no right to do that. How do you know who was on the boat? He had no proof that it was a drug boat. He struck that boat. and it was a fisherman's boat. That's why he had to strike again to unalive anybody who was alive, because they could tell the truth. I'm telling y'all. Yep. So one of the family members, filed a formal complaint of murder on Pete Hegseth. Now, I don't know, TikTok. I don't know, but maybe, just maybe, Pete was, drinking. Maybe he started back drinking. I don't know. That's what I was saying. And then most of Trump's supporters got on there and said, yeah, that was good. Yeah. And I'm saying it can't. No, it's not. Because you don't know for certain if it was a drug boat. Drug boat don't have 11 people on it. Hello. Not on a drug boat.
Pete Hegseth, you're fired. Well, it just turns out the week where we've learned about the second strike on this boat that ended the lives of individuals that had actually survived the first strike, well, we're now learning more information about this signal chat. There has been a bipartisan investigation into this, and members of the House walking out of this meeting, some have already said on the record it's some of the worst stuff they've ever seen. They've called it irresponsible. They couldn't believe what they saw. So if politicians are making statements like this, imagine how bad it is if and when at some point it's released to the general public. Pete Hegseth is not only on the hot seat, he's already burned himself. He's already gotten off the seat. I don't think Donald Trump is going to have any other plan other than having to let Pete Hegseth go. Now, that comes, as I mentioned, in the same week where it is beyond obvious that Pete Hegseth, the Department of Defense, laid down the orders for a second strike to end the lives of all individuals, which we've learned from certain members of the media in the Washington Post article. And now they're leaving it to the fall guy when we know Pete Hegseth is the guy in charge and the buck stops with him. And he's made incendiary remarks about this before, about ending the lives of all these individuals without any due process. Listen, I don't defend anybody who tries to smuggle fentanyl or anything else into this country. I don't defend those people, but there is no evidence that that was happening with these people. They didn't get any due process. And I also find it interesting that they released video of the first strike on this boat. This happened several months ago. Why haven't they released the video of the second strike? Donald Trump says, oh yeah, if we have it, we'll release it. We know they have the video. Why have they not released it? I'll tell you why. Because they have something to hide. Why haven't they released the Epstein files? Because they have something to hide. Why haven't they released the medical records of the MRI recently that Donald Trump got? Because they have something to hide. Why hasn't Donald Trump released all of his tax returns? Because he has something to hide. That is what I keep telling you with Donald Trump and members of his administration. They are criminals. They are hiding things. Well, Pete Hegseth's time is almost up. And while I believed a few days ago that maybe Kash Patel would be the first one to go, I'm now starting to think that Pete Hegseth might actually be the first one to go. But should we be surprised? I warned you about this guy, Pete Hegseth. His own mother called him a woman abuser. He's a guy that has lived a life of attacking women, abuse, just a horrific human being who has a tattoo on his chest that says 100% white. This was somebody who couldn't even get a weekday job at Fox News. He was the weekend guy. And now he's the leader of the Department of Defense. Should we be surprised that all these horrible mistakes and maybe even criminality has taken place? No, we shouldn't be surprised. Donald Trump will continue to defend him until the end. But I'm telling you, Pete Hegseth's time is up.
He's not going to get impeached, guys, but he still might be out of a job. No, I'm not talking about the Tangerine Menace. I'm talking about Hegseth. You see, there's a Democratic congressman today introducing articles of impeachment on Hegseth. On what counts? Well, the war crimey stuff, but also that leaked signal chat for putting service members' lives at risk. We're going to get an unclassified report on that later today or tomorrow, so I'll keep an eye out for that. But it's never going to happen. Republican leadership is never going to bring that for a vote. That's why I'm saying impeachment's not going to happen for him either. But he still is likely going to be out of a job, because if it's one thing that Trump really, really hates, it's continued attention that's not on him. And we saw this with the first administration. Anytime there was a controversy or things that kept getting brought up, if it happened for too long, it happened too many times, they were out, they were done, they were forced to resign, or they were fired. And I think that's what's going to happen more realistically with Hegseth, because we're going to have testimony from an admiral. We're going to get this report on the leaked signal chat, and we're going to have these articles of impeachment, and all of the attention is going to be on Hegseth. And then we still got the whole carrier strike group off the coast of Venezuela, and that's a whole debacle and kerfuffle in and of itself. And Trump does not like that, okay? Even the Trump we have now does not like that. That's why I say he's probably going to be forced to resign, I would say by the end of the year, if not fired, because Trump wants all the attention on himself, not somebody else. He's an egomaniac. We know that. And right now, Whiskey Pete is taking up too much of the media's time. He's not going to get impeached, guys.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire and smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand.
Let me get this straight, Pete. 48 hours ago, this was a fake news story. It didn't happen. Then the White House confirms it did in fact happen. And now you're saying it's the fog of war. Who are we at war with? Because what it sounds like to me, Pete, is you're just trying to cover up another one of your many terrible scandals that have happened since you've become the Department of Defense Secretary. Because in the last 10 months alone, Pete Hegseth has leaked classified information to the press. He's deployed the troops on peaceful protesters. And now he's allegedly told his generals to kill them all when there were survivors in a strike on a possible fishing boat. But rather than own up to his mistakes, launch investigations, ensure that they do not happen again, Pete Hegseth has routinely attacked the press and blamed everybody but himself for the terrible decisions that he's made in the last 10 months. All the while declaring himself an American hero and attacking real ones like Mark Kelly.
Seriously, lovelies, it's the fact that he's all over the place, not even holding any form of accountability or not even showing any form of remorse. That is just the highest for me. So it's actually said in the Constitution that you cannot just, go out to pew anyone that does not prove as a threat to you. But this is exact same thing that this man has done. And he's just justifying it, The thing is that these guys does not really care about anyone but themselves. And it's actually said that they are all out with Venezuelans because of what they ought to get. They are all around going after people's natural resources. They don't care what the outcome may be. All they care about is what they can get. These guys will do anything and look for everything possible means to justify the act. Just imagine, putting out people from this world that you cannot even create without any form of remorse. You don't have right to put out people that does not pose a threat to you, not even to talk about, to put out people that you are unable to create. And he's all out of oh my goodness. People are frowning to this. Because if something like this is allowed, that means any other person can be a victim and nothing's going to happen. And most of the people that has the ability or the power to do stuff like this can do it and get away with it. This is just not called for. If things like this could just happen to anyone, the individuals or the victims could just get victimized and that is it, and just used for attempts to justify actions, that means every other person might just fall a victim and nothing will be done. Before you know it, it's going out of control. The position he's held If he can't control it, so what's the essence? Because at the end of the day, he's just going to be a danger to people, right? Now, I also heard that the family of the said people is suing, the two people that he just ordered to get everyone unalived. Like, unalive them all. Like, seriously. How can people be so cruel? How can people be so happy to see other people suffer? How do you even feel unaliving someone? Like, this cannot even be made up. And now he's all about justifying his action, justifying his declaration. It then with any form of remorse or whatsoever. And this is a person that's held a very important position, a delicate position. It might be somebody today, it might be anybody today, it might be any other person today. You don't even know what will happen. Because at the end of the day, this they don't care. They don't care. It's just as if there are people who have a right to live in this planet Earth, and there are people who does not have a right. This is just how it's looking, which is not even supposed to be so. Everybody will use a particular position to oppress anyone that they feel that they can oppress, because they feel that nobody's going to stand there or talk for you. We're just going to come out and use some one or two speech to justify our action. How could you just order to do something like that, knowing fully well that these people does not really possess any form of threat? According to what I saw on the social platform, it is not constitutional to actually unalive someone that is not even threatening you, or does not even possess any form of. But here we are. This is all how it gets started. Before you know it, things are going out of hand. Like, seriously, love this. When I saw this, I thought that I was just going to put it up here. Why not please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So, lovelies, if you've not subscribed, do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button. Like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.
Leave me your own thought in the comment section. Subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that. Like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.